Coming up today on TechLink Daily, what little device can hack your iPhone in 1 minute, Zynga lays off 520 employees, and figure out what's coming at WWDC with new hints for new MacBook Pros. All those stories and more coming up right now. Hey guys, welcome back to TechLink Daily. My name is Craig Miller, and this is the #1 place to get all of your hottest tech news. Today we got some pretty interesting stories from around the world, plus some, well, new gadgets and new rumors. So here we go with today's top stories. Our first story of the day comes from the great country to our north. Yes, that's right, Canada has a story today from the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission entitled Your Rights as a Wireless Consumer. These rights that were just passed by Canada are probably the most comprehensive cell phone rights and probably the most consumer-happy cell phone rights that we've seen in a very long time. It is going to go into effect on December 2nd of this year, but it has many different aspects, including that they cannot charge you cancellation fees after 2 years. They can only charge you a certain amount of overage fees, stuff like that. But the big thing that everybody's after right now is that unlocking. If you can unlock your phone, if it's legal or illegal. I know in the United States, well, it's somewhat illegal and people don't really like you doing it, but the Canadians have said you can do it. It's free. You can do whatever you want. And now for you cord cutters out there, here's a story from Boy Genius Report, which is entitled The Latest Cord Cutting Trend. Ditch pricey home broadband for LTE. I consider myself a cable cutter. I don't personally watch cable TV in this household. Although that we subscribe to it, I don't use it for my primary or even secondary or thirdary form of watching television. I use a combination of web services like Hulu and Netflix, Amazon Prime, stuff like that to watch, well, my TV shows. I don't watch cable. And so we've been seeing this trend of people cutting the cable and going online. Well, now it's extending even further, and people are actually cutting their broadband internet and relying on Wi-Fi access freely available to them. Unfortunately, I'm in a rural part of the area, so I don't have free Wi-Fi around me. So that is not an option for me, but people in big cities with free Wi-Fi around may be doing that, or even subscribing through services like Verizon Wireless's LTEs. You can get a little hub or use your phone for a hotspot. That is what seems to be the current trend on getting your internet access. I don't know how far it'll go, but that seems to be a trend today. Listen up, all you iPhone users out there. There's a new hack going around that lets users hack into iPhones in about 1 minute. This story comes from The Verge, which reads, any iOS device can be hacked within 1 minute with modified charger, says researchers. So security researchers have found a way to load software onto an iPhone without any user action whatsoever. It's based on a tiny credit card-sized Linux PC that, when plugged in, will load this software directly onto any iOS device. And guess what? No human interaction whatsoever. This is one reason why I don't like using public USB chargers. You know, the ones where it's just a USB cord coming out with your charger for your phone? I don't trust those because that can do this exact same thing. But these researchers have found a way to fit it down into a really small device. Although it's not small enough to fit into chargers for your iPhones that are smaller, it still is a risk for people, and anybody who has an iOS device is vulnerable. That's out there. It was presented at a Black Hat conference, so look out for that. Probably won't get too much around and too much of a security risk, but these researchers have found a way to get it into your iOS devices, so be on the lookout for any suspicious charging stations or people wanting to charge phones with it. Well, if you work at Zynga, today is probably not your day. From the All Things D blog, Zynga to lay off 520 employees, 18% of staff, and shuttered New York and LA offices in Refocus on mobile. A few years ago, Zynga took a huge bank on Facebook thinking that they could make all of their money off of it, and they did for a short time. But then people started not playing their Facebook-only games, and their profits started going like this, and then like this, and then like that. kind of, something. Anyways, they've halted their trading on the NASDAQ stock market. They have confirmed these rumors that they're making cost cuts. They're cutting employees. Yes, 18% of their staff, 520 employees. I feel so sorry for them having be out of a job, but I'm sure they're very talented developers that probably will find even better jobs somewhere else. Zynga now is moving onto the mobile platform, shifting their way from Facebook to a purely mobile platform so it could fit on iPhones, maybe it can fit on Android devices. They're making that huge push to build their own applications instead of using Facebook. So good luck to them, and let's hope they don't have to lay off any more employees. And the sad news of Windows tablets keeps on rolling in. From Bloomberg, Microsoft said to cut Windows for tablet prices. With the failed launch of Windows RT, or at least I think was a failed launch, they will be cutting prices across the board on all Windows tablets, ranging not only from Microsoft's official tablet, but also Asus and Dell's and HTC's and Samsung's. All of their tablets soon will be taking a huge price cut to try to sell more, market them as, well, better tablets. I'm not saying that a Windows 8 tablet is wrong, I'm just saying that, well, they've not come at it at a very good angle. They're marketing it as a desktop replacement, when it really shouldn't be a desktop replacement. It should be a desktop add-on, a desktop, well, you might not even have to consider it as a desktop, an entertainment extension. There you go, entertainment extension. Because what do I use my iPad for, besides reading notes for today's stories? Well, I use it for entertainment. I watch Netflix, I watch Hulu off of it, I watch my own streaming stuff off of it. And I don't do any desktop work with it, so Microsoft needs to change two things. They need to make a proper tablet interface. They need to stop with this Metro BS. And they need to market it as entertainment, not a replacement for the desktop. There you go. That's my thoughts. What are yours? And Samsung keeps on rolling out new devices from the next web. Samsung announces new 8-inch and 10.1-inch Galaxy Tab 3 Android tablets, launching globally in June. First up, can we hold on for a second? What is with all of these point of a numbers? Why don't you just call it a 10-inch tablet, a 7-inch tablet, not a 4.5, not a 4.1.7.88763 tablet? No, call it a freaking whole number. It's confusing for some people. They're like, it's 0.1, what does that point make a difference? Of course it doesn't make a difference. Beside the point, Samsung is bringing out more tablets. That's great. They're competing in that marketplace of being, well, smaller than something like a regular full-size tablet. They're making those medium-sized tablets. That's what that 8-inch tablet's for, which is great. That 10-inch tablet, prime market to compete with the iPad. That could be great. Samsung makes some pretty cool devices. If they load on stock Android on there, I think it'll make them even better. The biggest problem with Android right now is fragmentations and every company under the sun thinking that they need to customize it to their own specifications. No! Stock Android. Just give us stock Android. That's all we ask for. And some people are coming out with stock Android phones, which are great because that is the raw Android experience that everybody should be able to love. Our next story is making me pretty giddy. From 9to5Mac, leaked SKUs likely point to MacBook refresh at WWDC as inventory tightens. Now, I personally have a 2011 MacBook Pro. I've made 2 upgrades to it, a solid-state drive and added memory, and it works perfectly. It works great, but I think it's time for me to do an upgrade. A 2013 MacBook Pro may not. That's what we're talking about, but I want a Mac Pro. I'm waiting for those Mac Pros. I want one so bad. A new updated one with the latest and greatest software. Who doesn't want that? But back to the story. New MacBook Pros, we're seeing 2 different models, maybe a 13-inch Retina and a 15-inch Retina. We have 4 SKUs that are being displayed, a better version and a best version for both of them. We're thinking they're MacBook Pros that will be thinner, higher resolution, stuff all around that makes people, well, generally happy. So hopefully we can see some Mac Pros, some MacBook Pros at WWDC coming up after this next week. And that's right, it's less than a week away, or actually at the recording of this video, it's just about a week away from being able to come out and have new products. Hopefully. We'll see. All right, on to hardware for today. It is this, an internal hard drive from Western Digital. I recently sold my RAID box looking for a new one, and it got me thinking about hard drives and I wanted to take the time to explain the differences between all these different types of hard drives that you see out there. Mainly right now for Western Digital. Right now, Western Digital sells about 4 main hard drives, each with their own purpose. They sell green drives, which are more for like storage drives. You would use these to store data, use as a storage drive. You wouldn't use this as really a boot drive at all, or anything performance related. It's mainly for archival purposes, storing data, stuff like that. Then they have the blue drives, which are, I believe, a transition between their higher end performance drives and their lower end green drives that are meant for storage. So you can load an operating system on them and they'll work just fine, but they're also made for that, storage solution as well. And then that comes to black drives. I have a black Western Digital drive. I can't take it out right now because it's running on the computer behind me, but that black drive right now is being used for my Steam games because it has great performance speeds. It's meant for fast reads and writes and stuff like that. It is a performance drive at heart. That's what you would want to load your operating system on. That's what you would want to load any critical programs on. That's what that's for. Then we come to the last one. The last one's kind of special because you would use them in a unique situation, something like I'm going to do. So I'm going to build my own RAID box. Hopefully here very soon. I'll build it here on the LogicLounge YouTube channel. Go over my shopping list, show you how to put it all together, all my testing and stuff. Those are Western Digital red drives. Those are made with the explicit purpose of going in NASs, or network attached storage devices. These devices hold a lot of drives and are meant to be a mass storage solution. Now, a lot of people, when they get NASs, whether they're pre-built or they build them on, they usually put these drives in there. Unfortunately, these drives aren't very good inside of them. They have, in their firmware, if they drop out of a RAID or make errors, they don't really perform very well. These Western Digital RAID drives are made with specific firmware in mind of being in a RAID setup, so that if it drops out of the RAID or it becomes corrupt, it doesn't break the entire RAID. So there you go. You have green drives, which are great for storage, blue drives, which are in the middle, black drives, which are for performance, and red drives, which are for RAIDs and network attached storages. There you go. Pick your hard drives at will now, because they're still around, and I still believe they have great storage potential over solid state drives. There you go. There's a little education for you and showing off my Western Digital green drive that I used to use for storage. Now I'm going to be using red drives. Now we move on to our question of the day, which reads, are you a cord cutter? I personally believe that I am a cord cutter because I don't watch cable television anymore. That's not how I consume my content. I use services like YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu Plus, services like those to consume my television movie needs. I don't need cable television anymore. So I guess it could be a two-part question. Are you a cable cutter? And what services do you use to supplement your cable? Let us know in the comments down below. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. So thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. All you guys do to be awesome. Be sure to like us, follow us, circle us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, all under the username of LogicLounge. Be sure when you like us on Facebook that you tick that box to get notifications every time we post an update so that we make sure our content gets to you. If you'd like to submit stories, go ahead, check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/techlinkdaily. TechLink Daily, all one word, TechLink Daily or TechLink Daily. It's down here. You'll see it. Thank you guys so much for submitting your stories there. We've been using them throughout this last week and beyond to power our stories in this YouTube channel. So once again, I'd like to thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. We will see you guys tomorrow.